सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Okay, any questions, clarifications before we go ahead?
Swamiji, are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I did have one, probably a little bit of a question only. This aham kratur aham yajna, that verse we saw, it seemed very remarkably similar to Brahmarpana.
Yes. It's almost identical. Yeah.
Almost identical.
Okay. Almost identical, yeah. It's true.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that. The second one was you had explained Apniyavalkya and Maitri about
the dialogue.
Mind.
Yeah.
So is that to demonstrate that Anyonya Ashraya of mind and world? Is that the purpose?
That is to show the location of everything in consciousness.
I see. Okay.
That, it's meant for that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So we saw last time how the worst possible things that can happen if you are stuck in ignorance. It is not that everybody in ignorance becomes someone with an asuri mind, but you can go there. Okay, you can go there. If you are ignorant.
Tomorrow the Easter lunch. Won't get.
If you are ignorant, but you are following dharma, there is no issue on that. Your life is clean, straight, no issues. Okay? Dharma, the universal order, the natural, the natural principles of justice, if you are following. There is no issue. Yeah. But otherwise the problems can be there. Okay, then he says, now he says a very beautiful verse here, which the Life Insurance Society of India has hijacked. Okay? Let's look at that verse. I think we are supposed to do the 22nd verse, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janaha paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Yogakshemam vahamyaham. That's the part that life insurance policies have highlighted it. What is yoga? Apraptasya praptihi yoga. It's not always huge to join and therefore joining something. Yoga is used contextually, it has got a lot of meanings. In this context, this would be the meaning. To get what I don't have right now is called yoga. The money that I may not have, the house that I may not have, the job that I may not have, a partner I may not have. To get what I don't have is called yoga. Okay. Then what is kshemaha? Praptasya rakshanam kshemaha. To protect what I already have. I gained it. I made that money. But now I have to protect it. No? From share market fluctuations. Unheard of relatives coming on. All that is there. So, scamsters, etc. So that all that I do to protect is called kshema. All that I do to gain is called yoga. So he says, aham yoga kshemam vahami. I will take care of your yoga kshema. For whom? He says, ananya chintayanto mam. Who always think of me as non-different from them. Okay? Yeah. Ye janaha paryupasate. And those who are seeking me in that prayerful attitude, they are seeking me. Tesha nitya abhiyuktanam. They are always engaged in the pursuit of knowing the truth. This is the statement that every seeker trusts and walks out of home and becomes a sadhu. Lord will take care of what you want. It's true. In the Indian context, 100% true. Verified. Verified. You walk away with nothing, it gets taken care of. All that you need, you will get. And if you don't get, that means you don't need it. Yeah, if you don't get, you don't need it. Aaj khana nahi mila, bhiksha nahi mila. You don't need it. Today is your Ekadashi. That's why traditional sadhus living in Rishikesh, they don't bother about Ekadashi and things like that. Why? When you get food, you eat. If you don't get food, there is Ekadashi. Nitya Vyuktana. Therefore, if you are following, a sadhu like life, he says, then yoga kshema vahami. Not only that, even for anyone else. Okay. What is your freedom? To do what you can do, isn't it? Results come where? By the cosmic laws. The laws which are nothing but his hands. So the hands of the Lord shape your result. Some of those laws we understand, therefore we can plan and estimate it. But many of them we are not even discovered it yet. We are still discovering, we are still fine-tuning, we are still doing so many things. So, if I make an expectation of the future, the chances of me being wrong are high. Yeah, because I don't have all the information. Yeah. If I had, would so many people would have been stranded because of the Gulf War? So many people were stranded here and there. Why? Because we didn't know. That's how war is, no? You can't announce, we are going to start a war, therefore all people get out. At least 50% of all war is stealth and deception. It has to be this part of the game of war. So, things happen. And even in, you can say, goal-oriented functioning, management by objectives. Now, why did you shift goal-oriented functioning to management by objectives and process-driven, etc.? All that is a nice way of saying I do what I can. With my understanding, I developed a process. I hope it works. And people keep inventing new terms, new this thing. Okay. Yeah. All your ISO certifications. All. Yeah. And they're local businessmen, without knowing all these things, they make money. They have no idea of any management theory, but they make big money, good money. Sigma 6, a tool to measure efficiency. There's only one organization in the world that had an accuracy of 99.99. You know who they were? Which organization scored 99.99? Yeah, are Dabbawalas, Bombay Dabbawalas. You think they knew anything about Sigma 6? And their system, I had a look at the system after I found that they had this thing. Very efficient. System that illiterates can operate. Uneducated people can operate that, and it's to the degree of accuracy. It's amazing. Amazing degree of accuracy. They evolved a system, it works without education. I was born intelligent. Education ruined me. I'm joking, okay? Because there are no youngsters around. If there are youngsters around, I won't say these things. Okay. The idea is this: some laws we know, therefore we can develop some processes, but there are many we don't know. But the Dabbawalas themselves, with a 99.99 score on Sigma 6, are going out of business. Why? Swiggy, Zomato, and all are coming in. With both the people at home working and nuclear families, who has got the time to make a dabba and give it? And they are not allowed in metros and things like that, only local trains. So, certain systems will go off. Part of the game. Now people are scared. AI coming, so many things, people will lose jobs. This is how the world evolves. What about all the typists? 30 years back there were typists, no? Stenographers and typists. 30 years back. Do they exist nowadays? Secretaries. Who are secretaries nowadays? If you are a CEO or that top level, you may have a executive assistant. They are not called secretaries anymore. What I am trying to say is, you don't know what will happen, when will happen. But it happens, Ishwarecha alone. It's all part of the natural evolving order that we call Ishvara. So it's not that modern technology, etc., is outside Ishvara's order. The whole thing is part of Ishvara's order. Why? He granted a possibility. And he granted their brain which can look into that possibility and develop it. Sometimes it's used well, sometimes it's abused. If it is abused, you lose it. If it is not used also, you lose it. People are getting ChatGPT to do all the writing. You lose your creativity. You lose your analytical skills. If you use it as an assistant, it's okay. But if you are using it to replace your creativity and your analysis, you lose it. Yeah, it's true. Simple thing. There was a time when people by-hearted the whole Veda. By our generation, we couldn't do it. No? A few people would do. Those who are priests by profession, they would do. Then non-priests also would do. They will learn to chant the whole Taittiriya or Purusha Suktam or the Rudram, and they will feel great about it. Oh, I can chant the whole Rudram. Very good. I am appreciative. But that's only one small part of the whole Veda that people would learn to chant. So it's already shrunk. Then, how many telephone numbers we used to remember? All frequently dialed numbers were here. But because of this, we don't remember any number. No? Do you remember any number now? I still remember the numbers I used to dial before the phone came. Those numbers I still remember. 351, 3797. All that, I remember all that. 682186668. I remember. But after that, what came? I don't know. Why? Because we are not using it. At least that is only memory. It's important, but it's only memory. But if you lose your creative skills and analytical skills, then you as a human being is gone. Then definitely you will be replaceable. Therefore, even for an ordinary person, karma phala comes from Ishvara. Someone who's going to go work, have family, karma phala is from Ishvara and it's part of Ishvara's order. The more you understand it and the more you function in harmony, the better you are. And Nitya Abhiyuktanam, then Yoga Kshema Mahamyam, that full trust and you go and function. That's it. Simple as that. Yogakshemam vahamyaham.
So Swamiji, is this verse specific to somebody who has the knowledge already?
No. Who's seeking it? But who has some insights. Because Ananya Chintayama, who doesn't take himself as separate. So he's got some insights.
Okay.
See, generally, a little bit. In our tradition, to walk out and to seek the truth, to walk out of your home, out of your job, etc., and seek the truth was part of our tradition. Okay. But if you do that without already having some insights, then you are groping in the dark. Okay. But in ancient days, some amount of this knowledge was there as part of society, much more than what it was today. Much more. Especially a couple of 100 years back, village life, because there was this idea of Chaturmasya, the rainy season, 2 months of the rainy season. Sadhus would stay put wherever they reach, some village, some this thing. So every village would have some sadhus staying there in the local temple or whatever. That's why if you look at those old temples, even today some of those old temples, we'll always have 1 or 2 spare rooms. Even the temple here in Chembur has that. 1 or 2 spare rooms are there. Okay. There sadhus coming, chalo, just a bare room, but that's all. And agrarian society. So once the planting is over, transplanting has happened. People are free. Now you have to wait for the paddy to grow. And until it grows, you don't have much of a job. Just to see that waterlogging is minimal, etc., etc. So work was minimal. So that was the time when the whole village would go to the sadhus to learn. So some knowledge everyone had. And then anyone among them who wanted to go on to the fast track would do so. They already had some insights. They already interacted with sadhus. Therefore, they know where to go, where the knowledge is available, all that they know. So they are not groping in the dark. Their pursuit is targeted pursuit. So Yoga Kshema Mahamyam says that, go on, I'll take care of your needs. And, okay, I'm digressing a little bit, but it's important to understand what our heritage is. There was a sadhu in the Himalayas more than 100 years ago. More, almost 200 years ago. He used to keep roaming all over the Himalayas. 200 years ago, yeah. Nobody knew his name. Nobody knew. And his only possession was a black blanket, kambal. North India kambal, you know what it means. That he would have it on his shoulder. And he would move all over the place. So the people started calling him Kali Kambli Wala. And his devotees would come in to him. He says, Maharaji, what seva we can do? Tell us what we can do for you. Tell us. So after a few years like that, he told them, establish kshetras wherever you can. So that the wandering monk will have his food. Roti dal mil jayega. Roti dal you will get. That's why many of the kshetras in North India, the kshetras that I used to go to, they're all Kali Kambli Wala kshetras. They are called Kali Kambli Wala kshetra. There's a fallback option available. You go there in time, you will get roti and dal. Survival diet is available. Don't ask me whether it's a balanced diet and things like that, okay? Protein hai kya usme na? What about it? You are having survival diet because you have to survive until you gain the knowledge, nothing else. You are not complaining about taste and things like that. Coimbatore ashram food was good. But they're making idli and sambar, there's no chutney. But many of us experience this gap. Nahi hai. Correct. That's how it is there. That's what they are following. Are we supposed to fit into that, or they are supposed to fit into what we want? Simple. We don't bother about those things. It's all carb rich here, correct? Where are you going to get your proteins from? Go to the temple. They will give you chundal as prasada. You'll get all the proteins you want there. Hey, the idea what I'm trying to say is, you're not bothered about these things. You're pursuing the truth. Like Shankara saying, Jnana Vairagya Siddhyartham Bhiksham Dehi Cha Parvati. I need Bhiksha. Why? So that I'll be established in this knowledge. For that I have to live for a few years. Therefore give me something to eat so that I will live for a few years. That's enough for me. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, that's what sadhu life. You don't say, oh, after I will learn here for 5 years, then I'll go become a great teacher, take the parampara forward. If you're planning like that, you won't get the knowledge. Okay? If you come to learn Vedanta planning like that, you won't get the knowledge. You come to learn Vedanta to get it for yourself. Then, if you have got it, we will see what next to do next afterwards. Your guru already has an idea what you should be doing. So, no problems. We'll do that later. Yeah. You don't go to learn with an agenda. You go to learn only to learn, nothing more. To understand, to one up the knowledge. Bas, ho gaya kaam. That's a sadhu life. As a householder, when you are pursuing this knowledge, naturally you'll have other priorities to take care of, and that's fine. Therefore, to harmonize all that, I handle this in the second chapter. How to balance out your priorities, etc. And keep this as ultimate priority in life. All that we had talked about earlier. Okay. Yeah. Now, there is a mistaken notion that, oh, in the Gita, Krishna has talked about worshipping me. Therefore, you should worship only Krishna. Krishna himself debunks this. Therefore, he says, Yepi anya devata bhaktaha yajante shraddhayanvitaha tepi mameva kaunteya yajanti avidhi purvakam. Let us say here is a person. Anya devataha worship. He doesn't have any understanding of what Ishvara is, etc. Okay? His understanding is very rudimentary. We belong to this setup, we worship this. This is our God. Okay. Whatever that murti is. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. Okay? But yajanti, shraddhayantaha, with faith, with trust, they are worshipping. This is Ishvara for them. Like we have in tribal societies, where I used to do a lot of work with. I used to go into these tribal villages. Hey, kona hai? Bhagavad hai. It's just a stone with some vermilion rudimentary painting on it. Bhagavad. They're actually worshipping Durga, they don't know that. Bhagavad. The one who rides the Vag. The lady who's riding the tiger. Okay. The lady who's riding the tiger, that's Bhagavad. So, fine. Yeah. So they will have all these. For Durga Puja, there are certain vidhis, etc. They don't know. They're doing their own thing. But there is Shraddha, Shraddhayanvita. Okay. Tepi mameka kaunteya yajanti avidhi purvakam, but yajanti. There is no discipline, there is no this thing in the way they worship. But they are worshipping Ishvara alone. Ishvara is everything. So you invoke him in any form, what does it matter? Yeah, there's proper vidhi, etc. Because the idea of Devata is traditional. Therefore, Ishvara is one. The whole cosmos is Ishvara. Inside, outside, everything, all there is only Ishvara. Remember what he said in the same chapter, few verses back? I am not in them, they are in me. And I connect all of them together. That means inside, outside, all there is Ishvara. There is only Ishvara in the world. That's what you are supposed to understand. And see yourself as non-different from it. But I am not yet there. Therefore, the idea of okay, then worship Ishvara directly. The whole thing is Ishvara. What is not sacred? It's too abstract for me, I can't relate. If it is too abstract for you and you can't relate, then the idea of Devatas came up. In fact, in yesterday's class also I mentioned this. The idea of Devatas, etc. came after the Mahabharata, around the Mahabharata time. In Vedic time, Ishvara was worshipped directly through various yagas, etc. And the symbols were the sun, the moon, the fire, etc. They were the symbols used, murtis used. We didn't have any other murti. The idea of Devata came later on because Vyasa felt in Kali Yuga people will not be able to do Vedic worship, and they won't have, most of the people, the common man, will not have the mental ability to relate to Ishvara as a totality. Therefore, he wrote 18 Puranas. Okay. And based on the same Vedic principles, created Agama Shastras to worship each of them. So now you have Shiva Agama, Vishnu, you have various Agamas, etc. You will have how to worship. So that is Vidhi Purvakam. You have worship in harmony with the Vedic principle. So for proper karma phala, you need to do it like that. I am not bothered. I am only bothered about my moksha. Then worship as you want. Because you are not bothered about other things. Worship as you want, no issues. Totally. That's why he says Avidhi Purvakam also when they worship Anya Devata. They don't have the idea that this Devata is Ishvara, etc. They don't have all that idea. Ye Vagoba hai mara, maja. Bas, itna hi. Doesn't matter. They are worshipping Ishvara only, he says. Why? Everything is Ishvara. Therefore, any form can be used to invoke Ishvara. We are not worshipping idols. We are worshipping Ishvara. He is symbolized by a murti. He is symbolized by a murti. And there are proper things to be done, prana pratishtha, etc., etc. All the stuff is there. Therefore, nobody is worshipping an idol. You think the sculptor who makes the idol doesn't know it's made of stone? You think the people who brought it, carried it forward, doesn't know it's made of stone? But there in that stone you are invoking Ishvara. Like how you invoke the country in a flag. Yeah. Same way. Or you carry the photograph of your children in your wallet. Why? Just that. As simple as that. So all this is part of the game. Okay. Then for speaking as Ishvara, he says, Ahami sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhuraiva cha natumam abhijananti tatvena etam chavanti te. He says, Aham hi sarva yajnanam. For all forms of worship, Vedic or otherwise, Vedic, Puranic, tribal, as you want. Okay. Even if you want to worship in other religions, like we can say that they will not be able to say the same thing. What is today? What day is today?
Easter Sunday.
Good Friday, Holy Saturday, Easter Sunday. That's how it goes. Ash Wednesday, Maundy Thursday, Good Friday, Holy Saturday, Easter Sunday. It's all about Christ and this thing. No? So invoke Him, no problems. The Hindu does not have the problem. But tell the Christ, hey, we don't have a problem worshipping in Christ. Come to the temple and worship the linga. No, idolatry. Huh? Jesus on the cross is not idolatry, but a linga is idolatry. ये क्या बात है? They don't understand. They don't understand what they're doing. What Christ said on the cross was, forgive them, Father, they don't know what they do. Was it for His captors or was it for His followers? God knows. And Jesus knows. Nobody else knows. Okay. Yeah. By the way, crucifixion was not meant to kill. Crucifixion was invented by the Romans as a part of torture, okay, to make you suffer. Because no major organs were injured. The nails passed through your hands and through your legs. Anyway, I don't want to get into all that, but that's okay. So, aham eva sarva yajnanam bhokta. All worship comes to me alone, he says, to Ishvara alone. Prabhurevacha. I am the source of all beings also. Okay. Natumam abhijananti. But they don't recognize this. Not recognizing it, he says, tataha tu tena shavanti cha. Because of that, they fall away from it, he says. They fall away from it. Then they will believe, my way is only way, I have to convert you to my way. Hey, all are forms of relating to Ishvara. Which is the problem? No. That's wrong ways. This is the right way. That is a fall. Why? Because you are not understanding what Ishvara is. Look at it. Every religion says Ishvara is all-pervading, correct? How can He be all-pervading if the creation is separate from Ishvara? How can He be all-pervading if you locate Him in one place alone? How can He be all-pervading when other forms are negated? How can He be all-pervading when you are looked upon as something useless? I am also a manifestation of Ishvara, isn't it? Every blade of grass is a manifestation of Ishvara. If you can't come to that understanding, then you are falling away from the knowledge. You are falling away from the truth. Now, there is a big difference. Now, contextually, I have to say this. All religions are not the same. Because they talk about different things. How can they be the same? Okay. Each religion has its own idea of heaven and hell. We have 14 dimensions, okay, not one or two. Graded. Because the Indian mind was a bit sophisticated. They understood the necessary for gradations. Because your karma is graded, therefore karma phala also has to be graded. Naturally. So, all religions are not the same, but all religions are valid ways of relating to Ishvara. They are valid forms of worship. Unless you are saying, you should come and cut my throat. Then the whole thing goes haywire. Then it becomes a cult, not a religion anymore. Yeah. Just because I am different from you, you have to come and cut my throat. That means what? No more a religion. It's a cult. But other than that, okay, all religions are valid in terms of relating to Ishvara. They're valid. That's how you choose to relate. That's fine. Someone chooses to eat this, someone chooses not to eat it. Fine, no problems. You relate as you want. Don't thrust it on me. That's all. You follow yours, me follow me. Live and let live, there's no problem. Okay, so don't confuse this statement as all religions are the same. That's foolishness. Because religions are different. That's why interfaith dialogue doesn't work. I have been to some of them, lots of them. Everyone says the same nonsense. All religions are the same. But privately, one character is saying, how is that beefeater going to understand my religion? And the other guy is thinking, how is that kafir going to understand my religion? The UAE is providing lip service. The UN took 20 years, World Council of Religions took 20 years to pass a resolution that all religions deserve equal respect. It was propounded by my teacher Swami Dayananda Saraswati, and it took 20 years for them to pass it. Can you imagine a simple basic thing like all religions are to be respected? Then you can imagine what interfaith dialogue is about. Okay. Then he says, Yanti deva vritan devan, vritan yanti putra vritaha, bhutani yanti bhutekjaha, yanti mat yajino apimam. Says, the result of this worship. Now we are talking about after death, etc. Okay, this is just it's belief oriented, yeah, and it is a logical belief. Yanti devata, devavritam devan. Those who worship the different devas, etc., they will go to those lokas where those devas, etc., are there, because deity worship, no? So those lokas. Okay. Pitrum yanti prutravrataha. Religions like Shinto, etc., where ancestral worship is high. We also have it, but we just have in terms of acknowledgement. Okay. Shraddha ceremonies, etc. But in some religions, the ancestral worship is very high. In fact, there are martial arts called the ancestral fist and things like that. Okay. Because it came from this religion which talked about. So where will you go? Pitraloka, where your Pitrus are. Pitraloka, where all the Pitrus are. Now you see why we are classified 14 dimensions. So you are worshipping Devata, you will be there. You are worshipping Pitralokas, you will be there with the Pitrus. You will meet your ancestors. Good. You may be happy meeting them. Are you sure they will be happy meeting you? If you had a critical father, and you go out of that, says, idiot, what all you did after I left? I'm just talking about possibilities, okay? Then you think, मेरे जाने के उधर. Half my life on earth he troubled me. Now after death, they're also saying the same thing. सोचो जरा. Bhutani yanti bhutegyaha. Those who worship various spirits, etc. And there are all the spirit worship, etc. They will take their phalam. Okay. Madhyajano apimam. Those who worship Ishvara will come to Ishvara. No, you choose where you want to worship. Yeah. But then there is more elaborate. More elaborate, okay? Worshipping Ishvara, etc. More time and effort is involved in it. Yeah. All right. Okay. Then he makes a very, very beautiful comment here in terms of worship. See, because Hinduism is an organized religion. Organized means worship, etc. is elaborate. As a religion, we are not organized. Because we don't have a head and devolution of powers, etc. We don't have a pope and the cardinals and the bishops and the priests. We don't have things like that. You can do your own thing. We have priests on one side who will tell you what rituals, etc., etc. are there. We have astrologers to guide them in terms of what is Christ to be done. Then we have the sannyasis who are talking about this knowledge, moksha, nothing else. The sannyasi is not meant for doing a priest. That job, the spiritual aspect and the ritualistic aspect has been separated. In many other religions, both are one. But in the Indian tradition, like if someone comes and tells me, Swamiji, I want you to be there to conduct my wedding, I'll say, no, I am a monk, I am not supposed to do that. Let the priest do that, I'll come there and I'll be there. It's a priest's job. In fact, a sannyasi is not supposed to be there in a wedding. Yeah. It is supposed to be not a good omen if a sannyasi is there. Why? You're putting the wrong ideas into the couple. You'll see, what am I doing? Because that option is given in every marriage. In South Indian marriage, there's something like Kashi Yatra. That is the time when both the man and the woman, even though the man is doing the Kashi Yatra, the woman also has a choice. Should I go ahead with this marriage or not? Last minute choice. In Maharashtrian marriages, there is something called Savdhan. 3 times it is said. People say, no, there's Savdhan so that they'll be alert to listen to what's happening. No, it is not. Samartha Ramdas, when he was getting married, he heard the first Savdhan. He said, what am I doing here? Second Savdhan, oh my God. Third Savdhan, he ran. The villagers chased him, but he jumped across a river, etc. He got injured in his head. It's always a permanent bump on his head. And he disappeared into the forest. He came 20 years back as Samartha Ramdas. 20 years back, he came as Swami Samartha Ramdas. And I respect the Maharashtrian community for continuing that tradition in spite of that major incident. So that's why sadhu is not welcome in a wedding so much, because as it is that option is given. If you see a sadhu standing there, wrong idea, don't run away. Otherwise every wedding will be a case of runaway bride or runaway groom, whatever. So the roles are separate. Okay, roles are separate.
Swamiji, the last part of the 25th verse.
Yeah.
Yanti Madhyaji no Primam is worship in a ritualistic sense?
Yeah, if it is worship in the ritualistic sense, it will be Ishvara, etc. in terms of lokas. If you are seeking in terms of knowledge, it will be the identity of Ishvara and Miyarama. Either way you gain it, he says.
Either way. Okay.
Either way it comes in that way. Yeah. Therefore, the ultimate is moksha. Everything else is intermediate. Yeah. Because if moksha is not gained, at least you have Ishvara Jnanam, you have done all the right things, you will be on track. Next lifetime you will pick up the thread again. So to keep you on track, Ishvara is always presented. Some worship is always presented along with the teaching of Vedanta. Ishvara is unavoidable in the teaching of Vedanta. To be a karma yogi, to understand totality, all that you need Ishvara in the picture. So that is this. Plus some meditation, some worship, etc. to prepare that mind, to have that bhakti bhava, so you can live a life of karma yoga. Without bhakti, where is karma yoga? Work without expecting result is some modern nonsense. Yeah. Written by people who don't understand anything. He writes in his book, Karma Yoga is work without expecting results. And ask him, how many books, how many copies did he make? 1,000 copies. Why 1,000? Why not 10,000? Swamiji, these are religious books. I expect in 5 years I will be able to sell 1,000. But 10,000 books, my money will be tied up. So what is he expecting? To sell off those books in 5 years. And what is he writing in that book? Don't expect results. It's all nonsense. Yeah. It's all nonsense. But Swamiji, the Shastra also uses the words like Nishkama Seva, etc. Nishkama Seva is a technical expression. It is called Falatyaga. Terms like Falatyaga, Nishkama Seva, etc. are technical expressions meant to indicate Karma Yoga. Pursuit of the truth to the inclusion of everything else, and living a lifestyle of Ishwararpanam Prasada Buddhi. So it's a technical expression summed up in one word like Phalatyagam or Nishkama Seva, etc. It is not selfless service. No service is selfless. You think social work is selfless? At best, it is enlightened self-interest. If you're really doing some good, it's enlightened self-interest. Like I used to do a program, corporate program for this company. All the villages in the surrounding areas, they used to have education, skill training and everything. And all the good ones who are passing out of that, they would employ in their factories. Their factory had 10,000 workers. What is that? Enlightened self-interest, no? You're developing the villages, you're educating them, and you're getting your working force. Because their village, their factory was back of beyond, thanks to Nehru's policy of putting all the factories in God-forsaken places. I'll tell you, it was a company called Hindalco, and the factory was in a place called Redikut. After getting down at Banaras, you have to drive 4 hours to that place. Can you see how back or beyond it was? So where will you get workers? At least engineers, etc. People are traveling, willing to travel to relocate for sake of work. Where will fitters, plumbers, turners, machinists and all go? They won't go like that. So develop them. Enlightened self-interest. Excellent job. Whole area developed because of them. But enlightened self-interest at best. NGOs, enlightened self-interest. 20% of the funding goes for their salaries, etc., isn't it? If you are a good NGO, it will be limited to 20%. Otherwise it will become 80% to your pockets. So there is nothing called selfless service. It doesn't exist. Minimum, you are getting a joy and satisfaction out of that. There is a payoff. So these are all technical expressions. Palatyaga, and they have to be understood technically as Karma Yoga. Where is Ishwararpana Buddhi, Prasada Buddhi, keeping moksha as the goal, understanding Ishvara because Prasada Buddhi means Ishvara, and eventually Satya Mithya in terms of the world. You are not a Karma Yogi unless moksha is your goal. Without moksha, if you are doing all that, you are a Karmatan, not a Karma Yogi. So all that comes into the picture. Okay, yeah. Okay, mom. Then, because the worship can be very structured, Vedic or Puranic worship, if you go by the Shiva, Gamas, etc., or Vishnu worship in a temple, go to Ahavala Math and see all the worship. Very structured. It's elaborate. Minimum will be what? Shodasa Upachara Puja that you are supposed to do at home. 16 steps for it. Minimum Panchopachara, 5 steps. Therefore, there is certain things, sanctity has to be maintained, this, that, etc. All that is meant for karma, karma phala. What are you interested in? Moksha. Not interested in other things? Nah, doesn't matter. Here. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yomaya bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktya upakritam ashnami prayatatmanaha. He says, it doesn't matter. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. Patram, it may be a leaf, bilva tulsi, etc. Pushpam, a flower. Okay. Toyam, water, you have nothing else. Sadhus do a lot of worship. How? Ganga mein jayega, kamandalu mein pani uthayega, and then come and pour it on the linga. Because that's all they have to offer. Kuch hai nahi haath mein. What are you talking about? We are living on bhiksha. What offering will we do? It's like Jalota, Anup Jalota, someone who sang, na? सब कुछ हार के आया हूँ, अब क्या हार चढ़ाएगा? Lost everything. I don't have anything. What har I can give it to you? Toyam, water. Okay. Yo me bhaktya prayachati. Who offers it out of a sense of devotion. Offers it out of a sense of devotion. Says, Tadaham bhaktya uparhritam. I will accept that, he says. Ashnamicha, I'll accept it. Okay, I'll eat it or accept it. And prayatatmanaha, because he's a person who's putting in the right efforts for his moksha. That bhakti is there in him. Bhakti is there, karma yoga is there. Bhakti is there, acceptance is there. Bhakti is there, the problems of sadhu life are no problems. If he gets food, he'll thank me. If he doesn't get food, he'll say, thank you Lord, because today is Ekadashi for me. I didn't have to remember, you ensured I won't get food. Hey, what can stop a person with that attitude from reaching the goal? You tell me, who can stop him? What can stop him? Or her, for that matter? Nothing. So he says, this is it. Therefore, if you're seeking moksha, then your worship need not be elaborate. Your attitude matters. Your sense of bhakti matters. And bhakti expresses itself in 100 different ways. I always talked about this, no? When they talk of bhakti, on Krishna and bhakti, they'll always talk about the gopis. That's why Krishna was sometimes called Alu. Why? He goes very well with the gopis. Alu gobi. Okay.
That's funny.
It's my PJ. Total PJ. Okay. Not mine. It is my teacher's PJ. Okay. I'm just quoting him. Suddenly remembered it. The idea is what? Gopi's bhakti was great. No one denies it. But what about the soldiers who followed him to battle? Is Narayani Sena. They are risking their lives for him. No? It is not the comfortable bhakti in Vrindavan. It's not playing Holi with rang and colors and flowers and things like that. Here you're playing Holi with blood, with weapons. Then what? Yeah, bhakti is entirely different. It's more powerful, actually speaking. It's more powerful, not less. Okay, therefore, Phalam Pushpam, any manner, yeah. Then he gives a tip in terms of how to live. Whether you are a karma yogi, sannyasi, whatever you are. This is how you follow, he says. Yat karoshi yad ashnasi, yad juhoshi dadasi yat tat parasya kaunteya, tat kurushu madarpanam. Says yat karoshi, whatever you are doing, yad ashnasi, whatever you are eating, yad juhoshi, whatever ritual you are doing, yad dadasi, whatever you are offering to someone, yat tat parasyasi, okay, whatever religious discipline you are going through, hey kaunteya, tat kurushu madarpanam, offer that or do all that with Ishvara Arpana Buddhi, with your attitude that all this is Ishvara's. I am eating this. Thank you, God. To the Ishvara that is there, I am offering this food. I am sharing it with the poor man, Daridra Narayana. I am offering it for Ishvara's sake. Everyone deserves a meal. I am offering it. I am doing a lot of work, Ishvara Arpanam, offering it to Ishvara. The more you understand Ishvara, the more natural this will become. Therefore, this attitude, it can be developed as an attitude and it will help to develop it along with some understanding. How Ishvara is the whole cosmic order of things. The more you understand Ishvara, the more natural this attitude will have. And you can do that a little bit to develop that attitude also. Yeah. I'm going and distributing, it's my birthday, I'm going and giving food to some poor people. Ishwararpanam. To the Ishvara that is manifest in all these people, I'm offering food. Their karma is a problem, they are poor. Past karma was an issue. But let me give them a helping hand. By Ishvara's grace, I have enough to offer. Nobody is so poor that he doesn't have something to share. Nobody is so rich that he cannot receive something. All of us are, as human beings, we are all wanting human beings. Therefore, that offering, that help, etc., all that is Ishwararpana. Yeah. I remember, I won't mention names. In the last camp that we had an industrialist coming for that camp. Okay. He doesn't lift his finger for a glass of water. Okay, at home or in the office. He just says, ring a bell and people will get him. He comes from that type of a background. He's the head of a huge pharma company and things like that. He gets up in the morning and gets ready. By the time he comes out of the bathroom, his bed is made and everything. Room is cleaned up. He won't know how to hold a broom. Therefore, he quietly comes and tells me, Swamiji, I never made my bed. I never cleaned the room. Can you send somebody for the first day to do that? I will watch them and learn and I will do it. So I asked the lady there, I'll give you something. She says, Swamiji, you have to speak to the manager. It's very controlled setup this is. I said, okay. And a young girl who was there, a young woman who was there, she comes up to me quietly and says, Swamiji, if you don't get anyone, I'll go and clean up his room and show him how to do everything. It's an industrialist. But this young lady had something to offer him. But he didn't have. He was all thumbs. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? In day-to-day life, there is enough. Hey, we all are living in an interdependent society. And the young lady didn't know he was an industrialist or something like that. She said, an elderly man wants a helping hand, I'll give him that helping hand. That's it. In her mind, that's all that was there. He's old enough to be my father. He wants a helping hand, I'll give it to him. What's the problem? To have that attitude of Ishvara Arpana, whatever I do. Even as a soldier on the battlefield, the act of killing, that's also Ishvara Arpana. If it's a good charitable, Ishvara Arpana. If it is getting married, definitely Ishvara Arpana. You need a lot of Ishvara's grace. Having a child, even more so. You think bringing up a child, you don't need Ishvara Arpana? Oh my God. So everything. That's what he's saying here. That means what? The attitude of Karma Yoga is inbuilt in you. How can you not mature out? How can you not evolve as a person? How can you not be ready to understand the truth? Because if it is a desire prompted activity, that's also Ishvara Arpanam. If it is duty, that's also Ishvara Arpanam. If it is a sheer case of reaching out to people, that's also Ishvara Arpanam. And if the action is offered to the Lord, result is prasada, automatic. Your work is your worship, then result has to be prasada. Acceptance. Good, bad, ugly. It's not what I wanted. So do it. Take a second shot at it. Take a third shot at it. Learn from your mistakes and go ahead. He's not saying don't go ahead. This is not fatalism. This is a proactive learning mind. Proactivity along with acceptance. Only proactivity will make you highly stressed. Only acceptance will make you fatalistic. Combine the both, you're proactive and you're free from stress also. Your acceptance is there. You're a learning individual. You learn from every little thing in life, the good, the bad, the ugly. From your success you will learn a lot. From your failures you will learn even more. So either way, you are learning and growing. You are fine. So that is the whole thing. In fact, that's the Hindu way of life. That's the Vedantin's way of life. This is it. Okay. Then there's some more little bit in terms of this. That we will see next class. Okay. Good place to stop. Om Tat Sat.